mengine ambayo makala spesheli yameandaliwa kwa ajili yako mpenzi mtazamaji, hali kadhalika mpenzi mtazamaji na mpenzi na mwandani wa masuala ya vyombo vya habari na mawasiliano. Jina langu ni Franklin Pendo. Kama kawaida nimkaribisha katika sehemu hii angalau tuweze kuangazia mawili matatu kuhusiana na yale ambayo tunayaangazia angalau hasa katika tasnia hii ya wanahabari. Hivi leo kama kawaida nipo ndani ya mjengo na mabingwa wawili, niruhusu niwaite mabingwa ama ukipenda galacha kwa jina lingine la Kiswahili, ambaye ni si mwingine bali ni Kevin Andande, mojawapo ya bingwa katika janibu hizi hasa tunapoanza kuzungumzia masuala ya top story. Halikadhalika ameandamana naye bibie Messi Sum. Karibu sana kwenye station ambapo tutaanza makala moja kwa moja. Labda kwa kuwapa taarifa tu ni kwamba hawa ni kwa Kiingereza waliosoma sana kuliko wanasema ni top story finalist, ambapo wameweza kuingia season 3, top story season 3. Kwa hivyo ni magalacha hasa katika upande wa experience wanao kibao. Moja kwa moja unaweza sema nasi kwa njia ya kuweka maoni yako kwa upande wa comment section pale, alafu moja kwa moja tutakuwa tunaangazia comment zako iwapo una pendekezo lolote ama chochote kile ambacho ungependa kuwasiliana na sisi. Karibu hadi tamati tuweze kuanza moja kwa moja. Kevin, karibu sana kwenye kipindi.
Thank you so much Frank. Nitaweza hii Kiswahili ambayo umeanza nayo. Umeanza na Kiswahili. Umeanza na Kiswahili ambacho kweli ni cha haiba ya juu, lakini nitajikaza ndani yake. Lakini itabidi nichanganye na Kiingereza.
Inaruhusiwa kaka. Karibu.
Mimi pia utani permit kuongea na Kiingereza because Kiswahili si mdomo changu at all. But I am really honored to be here today and to speak to people in my profession, youngsters who really want to get into the media field. I am honored to be today with Andande also here, who was my colleague at Top Story. So I'm looking forward into mentoring and inspiring the next generation of journalists. Yes. Hello.
All right, that's great, guys. Thank you so much. And in the background, right now, we have a chief technical guy. Is Bana Livingston Makori. Livingston, you can just say hi and then we start the program. Okay, seems that Livingston is not on. Now, guys, maybe...
Just Frank. Yes, can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I think we have lost Frank for some time, so we just proceed. As Frank had just mentioned, my name is Livingston Makori. I'm glad also to be here today. So we'll start with Messi and just to understand.
And how did you find yourself in a media class?
Whoa.
Frank, come again.
I think we're losing Frank. Okay, let me just go forward. My name is Messi Sum.
Sorry.
Let me go forward. My name is Messi Sum. I am a journalist by profession. I graduated last year, but I have a bit experience in the media industry.
Okay.
But my trajectory in life has led me into advocacy mostly and outreach. I didn't know that media has so much opportunity and so much potential out of the newsroom. So that is what I've become. I am also a contestant in Top Story Season 3 with Andande here and Caleb Sagini. I'm looking forward to inspiring and mentoring all of you who are tuned in right now.
And my name is Kelvin Andande. Probably in the media. Bado sijaweza kutoka ndani ya media. I'm still working in the media. And
all right, thank you so much. So what about Kevin? Who is Kevin and how did you land yourself in?
Frank. So my name is Kelvin Andande, and I'm practicing here with one of the local stations. Hata kama haunioni sana kwa TV siku hizi, working pretty soon nitarudi kwa scenes. I'm currently behind the scenes working on a few things here and there, but I very much love the media industry. That was my passion since way back, and yeah, I'm currently living the dream. That's me.
Yeah, Frank also asked about something on how we discovered our passion or how we found ourselves in the media industry. Well, in Tadia, I didn't know that I had so much potential in writing, and I discovered it then when we were given tasks on performing script writing, because I always wanted to be in front of the camera, but I found myself behind it, and I have appreciated it because it has outlined a clear trajectory on what I am becoming right now. So it is about passion, it is about self-discovery, it is about what you're willing to do when others are not willing to do it. So that is where I found myself. Yeah.
Funny thing is that personally, I always knew I wanted to be in the media since way back, since I was I guess 5-6 years old. Actually, not 5, around 10 years old. I always knew that I wanted to be in the media. I could mimic those guys in the media. So finding myself in a media class was really a process. I went through a degree course in education. Of course, I chose English literature. I wanted to become an English literature teacher because I knew that through English literature, I'd get into the media industry. My aim was never to become a teacher. I always wanted to be a journalist. So at some point, I switched to media, found myself in a media class, and of course, going way back, nikikumbuka zile enzi ambazo you are in school trying to do a few things here and there, unajaribu kumimic wale watu ambao kwenye TV. I'd find myself saying things like ujambo na karibu katika taarifa zetu za wakati huu, jina langu ni Kelvin Andande nini and sometimes I'd find myself trying to report, and I always had this interest in Citizen TV because throughout my high school years, that's 2006, 2007, 2008, thereabout, Citizen TV was really something in the industry. So I'd find myself mimicking these reporters, and I'd always sign out by saying, nikiripotia runinga Citizen, jina langu ni Kelvin Andande. So one day I found myself in the media, and the day I said that line.
Hello, Kevin. Are you there?
That was it for me. Yes, I'm still here, Frank.
Hello.
Yes, I can get you, Frank. Messi, can you get me?
Okay,
Yes,
okay, guys. Thank you, because I believe it's because of some of technical hitch that we are having there. Kevin, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
We've lost him again.
So what was his other question, Messi, if you can remember?
Yeah, the other question was now, what, maybe we can now go to the top story, and maybe let's understand what was your experience in the top story. It's every dream of every one of us, maybe students, those who are doing media, to be in the top story. What could you say was your experience in the top story and what it's all about? Maybe Messi can take us through that.
Okay. Top Story is the IT platform for every journalist, for every upcoming journalist, for every young journalist, because we got handpicked from Multimedia University because we were the best then. We were in different classes with Adande. I was in the same class with Sagini, but we got handpicked, and that was the beauty of it, that we got to experience the fullness of Top Story by getting handpicked. So Top Story is a convergent journalist training for investigative journalists. It trains us on integrating different aspects of journalism by becoming investigative journalists, verifying information, authenticating any information before you actually put it on board. So Top Story actually brought out a weakness in me that I didn't know was there. I didn't know that I was so detail oriented to an extent that I would tell Akina Adande that they should concentrate on something, and it was like I was so impulsive. So it brought out an aspect in me that I needed to rectify. Also, Top Story taught me a lot of things that I'm really using them in the current field. You cannot get hands-on training from journalists who have been there in the field to lecturers who have been teaching us. So they taught us a lot of things on convergence journalism, how to use mobile phones in integrating a story, how to become the pro in your field, how to become conversant with everything that is happening. So I really appreciate Top Story for that. It is a platform that has taught me also the essence of features, documentaries, and becoming a pro at it. And it has also taught me the essence of teamwork, because here I was collaborating with two guys. I'm telling you, Adande is a hands-on person and he's very opinionated. So you also have to know how to do what, how to handle him. So it has taught me the essence of teamwork, that there's beauty in accepting a different person has a different concept and you have a different concept, but let us merge them into becoming a very good idea. So I think we were the IT team in Top Story because we had very bomb and exclusive ideas and we combined them. We used to discuss our ideas unlike other teams. So I believe our team was the IT team in Top Story, and I appreciate that I came into contact with these two people who have transformed my career. Yeah. My career.
Wow. Thank you very much. That's very good. Now, and then what can you say about Top Story from your understanding and maybe an eye opener to somebody who may wish to participate?
Now, Top Story is a program that runs on NTV. Of course, a subcontracted program that is shot and recorded by Africa on Air Media. This is a competition that brings together, for now, I'm justified to say almost all the universities in the country. Three students are chosen from each, and they come together, participate in solving different media-related tasks. And funny thing about my Top Story experience is that when I was getting into it, I remember one day we were starting to shoot the introductory videos, and I was walking with Messi and Caleb towards the gate, and I was telling Messi, do you know we've been chosen for this thing, but sisi ni jokers sana, because you see, we are easy. We are not jokers, we are easy. We are those people who will laugh, we are not those journalists who will sit in class and try to find our stuff in books. But when it comes to the field, we are very serious. So I was telling Messi, us being chosen means that these people have seen something and we are gonna win this thing. From the onset, Messi was telling me, don't be so overconfident. But the far we've come, I can finally say that whatever they saw in us was really there. So Top Story for me has been a learning process, of course, for everyone. And the adrenaline in it is everything. I remember one time we were in Mombasa, and of course, in the course of media, sometimes you mess up. In the course of any job, you'll find yourself making mistakes. Of course, we learn from some of those mistakes. And one day we were going for judgment. So we've done our story and we are supposed to go for judgment. So that day, I've never spoken about this. So that day, I've of course, we are in a hotel in Mombasa, and it's all inclusive of drinks and everything. So I've finished my task early. I've gone and taken 1, 2 for the road, for the judgment, for the eyes, and I didn't realize that it has gotten to my head. I've had 1 too many. So I'm going for judgment, and we are lined up somewhere in Pride Inn Hotel in Mombasa. And Bessie comes to me and asks me, Andande, are you sure you will be able to answer questions? Because by that time I was the team leader. And I tell her, of course I'm sure. What do you take me for? I'm sure I'll answer the questions. But of course she has seen something. She has seen that the judgment of this guy is not. So in that moment, I found myself so mad that I was telling Messi, sisi hatuongeleshangi na wanawake hivyo. Mali nimetoka, ladies cannot talk to us that way. So that thing really. So after that, we went for the judgment. Of course, made it with Messi as the leader, and that thing really taught me a lot. It taught me a lot. Working as a team, being not so opinionated, understanding other people's views. It taught me a lot when it comes to the whole issue of practicing media, and it's such things that really I can say were the highlights for me in the top story and the learning points for me in the top story. Livingston?
So Frank, maybe you can proceed from there.
Yes. Livingston?
Yes, I can hear you. Frank, proceed from there. Sorry. Maybe if I may ask, I know your story, Andande. You start from a teacher, now you are a journalist.
Wow, Kevin, that's awesome. So maybe allow me to connect something onto what you've just said, that incident of Mombasa, and even flash forward to the incidents where during the COVID, and when the 3 guys were away. So in terms of teamwork, how should journalists deal or rather work to ensure that there is teamwork and ensure that there is effective delivery? Because whether you are coast or north or west, story lazima iende. That is it. There's no bargain about that. So how have you learned that so far, Kevin, and then Messi?
I'll go first. So for me, media house is all about teamwork. That's number one, because even in a media house, a newsroom, you'll find that before a story goes on air, imepitia kwa watu wengi sana. Kuna editors who will approve the idea. Of course, there is you as the reporter. Kuna watu wa camera hapo ndani if it's for TV. Kuna editors for videos. You see, it's a whole lot of process. And if you say that you'll not work with an editor, number one, your story is dead. If you say that you'll not work with a video editor, they might kill your story at that point. If you say that you'll not work with the bulletin producer, you're going nowhere. It's teamwork. Media house itself is a representation of teamwork. Before a story goes on air, unakuja na idea wewe kama reporter, ile idea inakuwa discussed na fellow reporters na editors ambao wana approve if you are going to the field or not. Unaenda unachukua camera person, mnaenda naye kama mwelewani, shauri yenu, mnarudisha ile idea inakuwa discussed tena what you have. After that unaandika script, inakuwa, you see, everything is a process. Inakuwa approved na ule anakurudishia, unapeleka sasa kuedit video na nini. That's a totally different department. So media is all about teamwork. Yeah. And in our small capacity, kama from what I learned from Top Story, is that number one, respecting other people's I won't call them energies, other people's
opinions.
Opinions and their expertise. Expertise is the word I was looking for. So let's say a person like Messi is very good at scripting. Na mimi hapa najua vizuri sana vitu camera nini and reporting, of course, naweza. So I won't go and start tampering into Messi's script, because nikipeleka idea yangu huko, probably napeleka weakness, so I won't force that idea on Messi. I'll just nikiona kuna kitu anajaribu ku leave behind, I'll just tell her, Messi, what if we incorporate this? And because she's the expert in scripting, she'll tell me, hapana, hii bado iko weak. So respecting the fact that Messi's judgment is on point, judging from what she has done in the past, is all it takes. That's teamwork for me. That's teamwork. Respecting the other person's role. And of course, mna converge hizo roles zenyu sasa, strength zenyu to produce a masterpiece. That's it for me. Messi.
Yeah, in Top Story, the takeaway for me was that I learned that you can have your opinion, but you have to be considerate of other people's opinion, because you can be an expert at something, but you're miserable at it, and other people exemplify your gift. So you have to take the criticism positively, you have to incorporate your values into them, and you have to absorb their values into everything that you do. So in working with the Dande and Sagini, I learned the beauty of working as a team. That is what I emphasize. There's beauty in working together as a team, because people have different gifts. People are talented differently. Adande is a technical person. He's a hands-on person. If I want any projects done, I will call Adande. If I want any scripting person, I will be there. If I want somebody who will give me a second opinion, I will call Sagini. So I have learned that it is very paramount to listen to different people. It is important that you work with other people, because you may have a bomb idea, but how do you execute it as a young journalist? You have to get wisdom from your elders. You have to get opinions from your peers. You have to get people who have done it before. And how did they execute it? So there's an art of listening. You need to incorporate a lot of listening if you are a young journalist. Listen a lot, ask a lot also, because you may be doing the wrong thing, but you're not asking how to go about it. So listen a lot, ask a lot, listen to your team members, especially listen to your peers, because those are the people who should be leading you on into becoming a pro in your field of work. So Top Story, I didn't know that I would get to discover my weakness there, but I discovered my weakness, and I'm so glad that I got to work with Akina Dande, because I have become a pro at what I do of late. I listen to people so much. I'm telling you, I have team members who are very opinionated, and I'm also very opinionated. So one person has to go down. So I went down. I listened to them, and then I discovered that it is not me who has the mantle to decide what is to be taken serious. So as much as young journalists want to develop, listen, learn, appreciate your peers, learn from your mentors, and that is the beauty of journalism. So that is my takeaway from Top Story.
Livingstone.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sum, I just want to come back to you now. For a student who is interested to pursue journalism, what do you say could be something that is expected of them? What advice do you have for somebody who is listening to you? They could be having interest in journalism. How do you advise them? Probably.
Well, a student who wants to become a journalist, 2 years ago, I was in the same spot, and I was concentrating in the newsroom. You know, people think that you will end up in the newsroom at the end of the day, that you have to be in the newsroom, you have to be an editor, you have to be a reporter, you don't have to be that. So stop confining yourself into a metal box that I have to become this, I have to become the next Lilian Muli, I have to become the next Betty Kielo. There is so much potential in journalism out of the newsroom. So I would advise people who are pursuing journalism, please identify your skill set and then magnify on them, perfect them, and then discover really what you want to pursue in the long run. Because if you look at me, I thought that I would be in front of the camera for the longest time ever, but that is not where my trajectory in life has ended me in. I am now in advocacy. I am in outreach, something that I'm so passionate about. I am so passionate about empowering the youth giving opportunities to girls, and ending teenage pregnancies. It is through my hands that I get to write stories that impact differently. So look at the newsroom as a stepping stone. Stop concentrating on that. Look at it as a leverage. Out of it, it's a social science. You can get into research. You can get into so many fields. So stop concentrating only in the newsroom, because how many news stations do we have in Kenya? And then people are telling me that journalism is not a lucrative career. Oh my God, journalism is a lucrative venture, because we get to report so many things out of our fields. We get to learn so many things out of our fields. So stop concentrating on the newsroom. Concentrate on your passion. Are you passionate about reporting? Do you want to write? Do you want to exercise technical skills? Or what do you really want to get into? And then diversify that and make it a source of income, because that is the most important thing. People are now getting into digital journalism. You don't have to go to the newsroom to just get a camera in front of you and vlog about something. You have your own camera. Go to get recognized by somebody in the long run, and that is journalism, where it has placed us. We have to look at the transitions. Previously, we were the informants, but right now in the digital arena, there are so many informants. We're getting news from different areas. So, what are you going to give that is so different from your field? So, diversify your means of income, and then stop concentrating in the newsroom. There's so many opportunities for you as a journalist, as a communication specialist out here. Diversify that. Yes.
So maybe allow me to take you back a little bit, Messi, with regards to the issue that you've mentioned about identifying the talent that you have and try to nurture it. So maybe if we use you as an example, how did you identify that you're good in scripting? And because by the time you identify yourself you're good in scripting, you must have gone through a certain process. So how did you identify yourself that you're in that? How did you identify? And then day one in semester M, so that they can start packaging from day one.
So that is called branding in my field right now. In first year, I used to write short articles on Facebook. They used to get a lot of criticism, and they discouraged me from the word go, because I thought I was good at writing, but unfortunately, I was not as good as I expected the market to welcome me. In third year, fast forward, multimedia offers some program that somebody has to become a writer, an editor, and all that. So in third year, I discovered when they placed me at a really tight spot that you have to become the script writer at this point. I wrote a lot of scripts. We were doing documentaries, we were doing features, and I enjoyed it. I was like, hi, I enjoyed writing a lot of and bringing characters to life. So I think this is my area of expertise. And then I used to write a lot of articles on Facebook. They would get criticism, but at the end of the day, I've put out my piece there and I'm perfecting it in the process. So do I take criticism positively, or do I take it in an altitude that would prevent me to grow? I took it positively, every criticism that I got. So I specialized in one area of expertise in writing, and that got me identifiable to very many people. Features and documentaries, I can write that very comfortably. So it is something that you do not have to struggle with. For example, in front of the camera, you do not have to struggle with speaking. If you struggle with speaking, then there's a problem there. If you struggle with writing, that is not your passion. Your passion just exudes naturally. It comes out of you naturally. Like Adande speaks Swahili so well in front of the camera. He's also a very good editor, because that he has learned throughout the process. But he's a good reporter, you see. So he has diversified his skills. He has learned what he is really passionate about and he has gone for it. So I learned mine was writing and I went for it. I can also be in front of the camera, but I would not be as good as I would be writing a script or penning down my thoughts.
All right, thank you so much for, because really you have to ensure that you are a bit passionate with whatever you do, and that's why now I'm going to Kevin. Kevin, I know you're a technical guy. If I have to follow what Messi had already said, and from the normal information I have about you, you're more of a technical person compared to these other area or field. So. Media is too wide, from online, offline, all those kind of stuff. So, for example, if a student wants to package themselves to be a blogger, or they want to align themselves even in the newsroom, because even the newsroom, there are like more different departments, from sports, news, business, all through, all up to continuity and even TX. So how can this student, for example, me as a student, who should I align myself with so that I can start learning pole pole, kidogo kidogo, mpaka nifike pale? Kevin?
Number one, I would say that for anyone who is thinking of getting into the media currently, forget about TV stations, forget about radio stations. Completely forget about TV stations, completely forget about radio stations. You might never ever get that chance. But that does not disqualify you from being called a journalist. That does not disqualify you from becoming a journalist. Use what you have. Use what you have. You don't have to have very big machines, very big cameras in order for you to get into the field of media. Number one, the media does not even require those things. If you followed last year very well, you realize that one of the stories that went very viral was the story of George Floyd, the guy who died out of police brutality. A simple thing shot on a phone camera. That person might not have been a journalist, but the story went viral and it brought about change, which is what we are all about in journalism. So to come to your question, Frank, a person who wants to get into journalism and wants to probably identify their niche in journalism, this is what I tell them. Number one, journalism, hata ukisikia Messi anasema that I'm strong in this, I'm strong in this, not so strong in this, it doesn't mean that if you give her a video, she won't edit. No, she will edit, but that's not her expertise. So number one, I tell a person who wants to become a journalist right now, one thing you require is versatility. You need to be all-rounded. Ukiwachiwa kamera peke yako na tripod, uambie urudishe story, utashikilia hiyo microphone, utarudisha hiyo story. If you are in a media house, ukiwa na blog yako na hauna team, you're starting, uko na ka YouTube channel pale, you'll need to know hizo vitu za editing wewe mwenyewe. You'll need to do them by yourself. So number one is versatility. Be all-rounded. Know how to edit, know how to package, know how to do all those things. So versatility is key. Number two, for a person who is looking into getting into journalism, of course, training is important. Training is important. There's a difference between hizi channels ambazo zinaanza our comedians ambao wanaajiriwa katika vyombo vya habari. Their work is to provide that humor, not to report. What they report ni hizo vitu zao za jokes, si hii yetu yenye sisi tunafanya. So for a person, training inatufunza kitu moja. I'm talking to a person who wants now to get into this field na unajiuliza where do I start. Lazima tu training, hata kama nika certificate in that thing, kindly try get that. Hapo utafunzwa vitu kama ethics za media, of which bila ethics in media you are as good as dead. Hapo utafunzwa vitu kama how to handle some of these things, interviews, how to handle vitu ambazo zinahusikana na watoto, how to handle vitu ambazo ni graphic. Of course, if you get into a media house and you don't know some of these things, you'll end up being retrenched na siku ya kwanza ama siku ya pili, because you won't be giving what is needed. There are formats za kuandika vitu kama scripts and such things. So number one, you should align yourself to trainers, watu ambao wanaweza kutrain. It doesn't have to be in school, but make sure you have someone who is training you. Number two, I'd say that kuna mentors, and this brings me back to the story of Top Story. What I've benefited a lot ni ati nimepatana na mentors pale ambao they were very, 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 very helpful in whatever I was doing. Very helpful. Unapatana na watu kama Dennis Okari, they make you realize that, hey, nilikuwa najua nothing about investigative stories. You meet a person like Ted Josiah, umefanya a story, umeedit, sound unaona iko sawa, mpaka naita akina Messi asubuhi nawaambia hii ni kali. The Ted Josiah comes and tells you this is nothing, and he shows you the mistakes. So align yourself to some of those mentors, and of course be ready to accept correction and such stuff. So number one, nizo vitu mbili, training hata kama ni kutoka kwa watu. Number two, mentors ni very important in the media industry. They'll also help you get some of these opportunities ambazo wengine wetu tunapatanga. So that's it, Frank, for me.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you, Mercy, so far. Because now, Kevin, you've mentioned something about the challenges. And now I have to bring the issue of citizen journalism that has come on board. So as a budding journalist, and this is a question I can throw through you two, that is Kevin and Mercy. So as a budding journalist or upcoming journalist, how should I ensure that I survive with the advent of non-professionals, quote, being admitted into our media industry, and again, the advent of citizen journalism? So how should I do to survive?
Do I go first?
Let's
Yes.
go first, kindly.
Yeah, so citizen journalism is the aspect where we get even non-professionals covering a lot of stories on social media, breaking a lot of stories in news outlets and becoming the first ones to break stories. What I can say is the media industry is very competitive, and you're as good as your last story. The story you covered last is your best, and that is it. So in becoming the best in achieving this title of being a convergent journalist or surviving in the media industry is, I advise everyone, get your niche out of the newsroom. Get your niche out of the newsroom or be a convergent journalist. Convergence journalism means that what Adande has expounded on, be good at editing, be good at script writing, just be good at everything. If they give you a task to perform in any jurisdiction, perform it outrightly. And then read widely. You have to be conversant with a lot of things: politics, economics, fashion. You have to, if you're given a topic to write on, if you're given a story to cover on, for example, if it's a feature, expound on it with a lot of knowledge. Let's not these other professionals come and cover it. Like, for example, lawyers come and cover something on law. Just write it, and write it with a lot of knowledge. Adande has said that you have to get a mentor in the industry, and I second that. Get a mentor in the industry who will align you to your goals and what you should be pursuing. Also, there's something that you're embracing right now called mobile phone journalism. That shows you that journalism is very dynamic and it progresses, it changes all the time. So be ready for change anytime. Be ready to adjust to anything, because you can be given a phone to edit a story, you can be given a computer to edit a story, but still do everything. Be versatile, be convergent with every skill. That is what I have noted in the media industry. Also, embrace digital transitions. Previously, We were using camcorders. But what are we using right now? You know, if we project 10 or 15 years from now, we won't really need cameramen, because you can just place a camera in front of, you can place it on a tripod, and then it films itself. You see, we won't need them. So what are you doing as a student who has studied journalism to perfect your skills in the same area? Diversify, do everything at a go, and then take up also, journalism is a social science. I keep emphasizing on that. Take something that will make you grow and will grow your expertise in some field. For example, we have business journalists, we have finance journalists, we have fashion journalists. So what do you really want to pursue? So take that and pursue it to the latter. And I emphasize, read a lot, read newspapers, read books, read a lot of things, because we are informants. We have to get a lot of information from everything. So how do we inform people from a point of no knowledge? So read. That is what I emphasize on. Adande?
On my side, I'd say that citizen journalism is here to stay. That's number one. Citizen journalism is here to stay. And you guys will agree with me that people will not stop reporting anytime soon. Our watu wa kawaida, they won't stop reporting anytime soon. You'll wake up the next day, you'll find wanasema so and so amekufa. You'll find out wanasema sijui accident imefanya nini mahali. That will always be there. But that's a new opportunity for journalists. Verification of news. It's your work as a journalist now, a trained professional journalist, to authenticate whatever these citizen journalists are doing. Of course, you can use it to your advantage. Number one, how do we get some of these stories? Most of the stories we get zinaanza na gossip. Unasikia sijui nini imefanyika mahali fulani. Number one, kama journalist, unajaribu to find out, how can I get here? Is it really valid? So we are not really fighting citizen journalism, but we are here to authenticate whatever these people, or to gauge the authenticity of whatever these untrained people are coming to report. So you as a journalist, a story breaks out there, umetrainiwa hata kama ni ile kidogo ya first year. You know some of the steps ambazo unafaa ufuate. You know better not to share anything before it is confirmed. Imagine if a TV, or when, because it happens, when a TV station shares something and it's false, the time they spend in apologizing. You've seen newspapers that misreport and take a whole first page, a section on the first page to comment and correct the information. So we are here as journalists to try and counter that thing before it gets to the extreme. So citizen journalism is here, but we should learn to live with it. That's what I'd say.
Also, to add on that, I'm looking at people like Akina Aziad. Yes, they're making, or they're carving their niche in the media industry. So what I'm here to tell my associates in the media industry who are behind me, that carve your niche right now. Use social media to network as much as you can. Use your spaces to network, because if you can write, Jesus Christ, you've been given a free platform on Facebook. Write. If you can edit, or you can come up with a very compelling story, take your phone, go do it, and then post it on Facebook. Consistency is the only thing that sets you apart from different journalists. So do it right now. Start at it right now. Do not wait to go to the industry so that you can become. It does not work that way. Start right now. Let somebody identify your potential, and then they poach you, or they bring you into a newspaper and or in a newsroom and do all of that. So start right now. That is it in citizen journalism.
Frank, are you there? Just
well, thank you guys. Thank you so much for. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you, Kevin and Mercy. In fact, one thing that is coming out clearly is consistency, innovativeness, and creativity. That way, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're watching us from, you'll survive if you go that way. Now, maybe before we go to the feedback, I can see Rono Choginio. Thank you so much. You're saying that there's a great conversation. Keep up the good work, guys. Thank you so much, Rono. And we pray that may you request other guys to join on board so that we can learn together. More Rogo, thank you so much. And Rono Choginio is agreeing with you, Kevin, saying that versatility, as Kevin puts it, it's crucial. Journalism 360, hone those skills. Thank you so much. So, guys, maybe I remember one aspect while back in class is doing practice, trying to stay alive in journalism. They say you are as good as your last story. I remember at some point there could be you've given this huge task to do and very minimum time. Now, in terms of adaptability, how should a journalist work on toes so that at least you ensure that if it's a bulletin for 7 or it's any deadline that you have umemalizana nayo, usiwe unapatana na shida na editor ama boss wako. Kevin.
Frank, I'll tell you this. Unajua computer hizi tunatumia, those things can disappoint you at the worst moment. But as a journalist, I'll get to that point. Ngoja tu. As a journalist, kuna timelines unaweza pewa, and those timelines will really be a problem to you. Let's say day to day operations in a media studio. It's about 6:30. You've been given a story that should go on air at 7 p.m. Remember, at 6:30 media house iko na computer za kuedit kama 3, 4 ama 6 at most. Kuna reporters wengine 6 wanafanya stories, walianza kuzifanya saa 9. At 6:30 ndio wamechacha moto saa, they cannot leave that computer for you to use. Ukienda voicing booth unakuta kuna watu wako ndani. Ukikuja kwa editing hauna mahali pa kueditia, ukirudi kwa voicing hauna mahali pa kuvoicea. You have a script, yes, you have the pictures, unafaa uziweke kwa hiyo script, but what do you do in such a moment? Those are things that happen. So as a media personality, number 1, patience ni kitu moja unafaa kuwa nayo. Patience ni key, number 1, because kama una patience utaona kama kazi ya mtu mwingine si important. And they are doing a story just like you're doing a story, regardless of the fact that yako inafaa iende ikiwa story 2 ama story 3. They are doing a story. So some of these things happen in the media, and you can notice that I had even written somewhere that without patience you are as good as dead in the media industry, and you have to have a thick skin to take in some of these things. So there was this point I was interning at Citizen TV, and I had a story, and at that point kuna kitu inaitwa FTP. It's not working, so I cannot get the system is generally down. I cannot get the images to bring here. The editor is on my neck telling me your story agenda. He doesn't hataki kuelewa, anangoja story. Producer anangoja story. So in such moments I went and spoke to the editor wa hiyo video, namuuliza manze, nitafanya aje, nitafanya nini hapa? And that guy is called Tony. He told me something very simple. He told me that you can't kill yourself. Sometimes we are human. You can't kill yourself simply because a story has not gone on air. You can't kill yourself simply because the circumstances are beyond your control. Wewe unafanya, yes, but imefika mwisho. You are ready to voice the story, but umefika mwisho. You can't kill yourself. Reduce the pressure. Pressure number 1 itakuua kabisa. In the media industry, ukiwa na pressure itakuua, because we are in the business of breaking news, and ukienda ku break news na pressure yako, trust me, you won't make it. So the trick is simple. Realize that there are things that are beyond your control. Number 2, don't pressure yourself when it comes to those things that are beyond your control, because the moment you start pressuring yourself with such things, utajikuta you're giving up in this industry. And of course, no one promised you an easy sailing in the media, but of course, you have to realize that there are things that are beyond what we can control. And Frank, just to finish up on that point, I'd really like to say that in the media, there are things you have to have. Number one is you have to be very time conscious. So don't come to the media house or to the newsroom late with a story. If you are to be there by 9, make sure you are there by 9, because you get there at 9:01, the story has been given to another person. You get to the field at 9:02, the story has already been scooped by another channel or reported by another channel. Your editors will ask you what happened. There was this one time I was working in the media, still actively report, and it was about 6:30, I guess, and I had to go do a story on Kebs. Kebs was there was some counterfeit milk that was being burnt at Kebs offices. So the PS or someone was supposed to be there. So I'm given this story at 6:30. I should go, or 5:30 thereby. So I should go get a camera person. I go to the camera room. There is no person there. I go to the driver section. There wasn't any driver in the parking lot. So I'm here. The editor is expecting a story, but I'm hanging somewhere in between. So I get to this point. I decide. I make the decision mwenyewe. I decide that I won't go for this story. Let me go home. I went home. So at 7 p.m., I'm watching the news bulletin. And NTV, back then I was in Citizen, NTV runs the story, the exact story I had been sent to do. My editor, of course, media house got to watch stations. So my editor, who had sent me on that assignment, takes a photo of NTV's story running and sends it to my WhatsApp. Akaniuliza, I sent you on an assignment. What happened? I didn't even open that message. I didn't reply to that message because I knew after Sasa I've done that thing that gets people fired. The next moment I went to work, and it was an uncomfortable situation. So in the media, what I'm saying is this, Frank: when you cannot be able to execute, kindly be able to communicate. Just avoid this operation. You're not able to execute, be able to communicate. And this is not only in the media, it cuts across the board.
Also, I have to give a shout out to some top story contestants who are currently watching. That is Waris Kimathi from Technical University of Mombasa. And then we also have Rono, who is from Moi University, and they're very compelling storytellers. So what I've learned in working in the media industry is resilience, patience, and beating deadlines, because deadlines are everywhere. If you think they're not in the newsroom, I'm telling you, in the corporate world, they exist. And we are trained in school. If you've been given a story by 6, you should break it by around 4. You see, around 4, so that you can beat the deadline and you can become the first one to beat it. So there are some bare minimums that you should have before joining journalism school or media school. If you cannot meet that, then journalism is not the career for you to pursue. Journalism in Kenya has been branded as a profession where bimbos just get to join, and if you're beautiful, you're handsome, you get into the newsroom. And it is not that way. Journalists who are in the newsrooms currently are very, very intelligent. And for them to get to that level of professionalism, they had to practice resilience. They had to practice professionalism in all aspects. If you look at people like Akina Dennis Okari, you may admire them, but the journey for them to becoming who they are, it took a resilient soul. So you must be willing to fight for your place. You must also be willing to learn a lot and extend your time, because in journalism we do not have a lot of time to ourselves. So take a lot of extra time in learning new concepts and developing them and becoming what you want to be in the industry. Back to you, Frank.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, guys. I mean, it goes without saying that whatever you just mentioned, and anybody else who's watching, who has who is so passionate about media, really, there's a huge amount of information that they can take home. Now, thank you for watching Filamu ya Kimathi. You're enjoying the conversation. We are so much glad to have you on board. Thank you so much. And for those ones who are watching us from YouTube and as well as on Facebook, we are more than glad to have you. Thank you so much. And maybe one thing that I can allow me guys to emphasize is that once you're a journalist, a upcoming journalist, or a budding journalist, there's one element that you really remember. In media, and you can agree with me, guys, is you have to spend time. You have to agree to be used before you become a brand. Whether you're on TV, whether you're on radio, it's very hard for you to create a brand, and it comes naturally. When you look at the legends like Dennis Okari or Rubadili or any other person that you can see and you emulate, even the likes of Salim Kikeke at BBC, those guys have come from far. So as a journalist, you need to take your time, you need to be patient enough, and you need to be aggressive in terms of learning how you're going to attach yourself. And some of us, maybe for those journalists who are, people can go up to a year doing internship in this town of Nairobi. Yani bora tu yeye anahakikisha kwamba story inaenda, no pay, nothing. And right now they are the ones who grace your screens every minute, day, evening, and even afternoon. So ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, usije ukasema kwamba oh, sasa mimi siwezi kutumika, sijui nini, silipi. Ndio, media, it doesn't have money, it doesn't pay when you are new. But once you become a heavyweight, once you become a brand now, we can talk a different story out of there. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I can see it's 3 minutes to 3. Thank you so much wherever you watched us around the globe. We are so happy that we had you on set. Now back to you quickly, Sum and Kevin. What is a takeaway, the parting shot?
My parting shot would be for anyone who wants to pursue media. It's a good career to pursue, yes, but you need the right attitude, you need the right you need enough focus, you need patience, just a little talent. But of course, above everything, make sure that you can communicate, because media is in the business of communicating. So make sure that you can communicate. Then I'd like to finish by saying that there's no perfect time to start. You can always start now. Actually, now is the perfect time to start. Start with what you have to achieve what you want to. You don't have to have all those big cameras and stuff like that. You have the tools. You have the phone. You have the sound. You have everything you need in your hand, all in one. So there's no perfect time to start. Don't wait to be employed in a media house, because probably you'll never get there. As Frank said, the easiest way of getting into the media is through attachments and internships. The other easiest way for you to get into the media is for you to start something of your own and either sell that idea to the media house, or the media house will see that idea and want you to implement it in their media house. So just start. That's the parting shot. Just start. My parting shot. Thank you. Frank?
Okay, thanks. Sum, maybe your parting shot, please.
Yeah, I'm putting an emphasis
Messi.
on a cliche. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, right, yeah, loud and clear.
I'm putting an emphasis on a cliche that you should become more, do more, go out of your way, and most of all, get out of your classroom and network. Network, just go to events, even film them for free. using your mobile phone, send them to your contacts. And that is how you get into the industry. So do more, become more, and be willing to always go an extra mile in looking for you becoming the next top journalist. Thank you.
Thank you guys, thank you. Yani natumai naomba kwamba ningekuwa na uwezo, ila kwa sasa sina uwezo. Langu ni kusema asante, shukran sana kwako Kevin na kwako bibie Messi Sum kwa yale ambayo umeweza kutuandalia. Ni mengi ajabu, na hakika naamini kwamba wewe mpenzi mtazamaji, mahali popote ulipo katika sayari hii, umeweza kunufaika mawili matatu ya kuweza kutilia maanani, na angalau uweze kumaliza siku yako ukiweza kusema ni halafu ama ni khair. Basi mpenzi mtazamaji, mahali popote ulipo, tumefika tamati mwa kipindi cha leo. Hadi tena juma lijalo sana wakati kama wa leo tunaweza kupatana hapa inshallah. Tunasema kwamba kwa niaba wote ambao wameshirikisha na kufanikisha matangazo haya, akiwemo fundi wa mitambo bwana Livingstone Makori, hali kadhalika wengi wote ambao wameweza kujiunga nasi, tunasema shukran. Basi namaliza nikisema kwa